ESCI 310, Elementary Science Methods, Learning about our shared worlds in ethical ways. Since this is my second time taking an ESCI class, I can definitely say that I have gained an understanding of what science is and isn't, how to disrupt the common idea of what science should consist of, and thought of how I will teach science to my future students. When I think of science, I think about how I was taught and what I was taught. To me, science was always divided into categories such as biology, chemistry, and physics. We learned about plants and animals, the reproductive system, classification, weather, the table of elements, forces, space, protons and neutrons. I could go on and on. The problem with this is that it only represents one viewpoint, one perspective, the Western way. I believe that science is solely based on the notion of what is real and what is not, and who we should believe to be correct and who we shouldn't. Science as the Western way has been so drilled into our minds that people are finding it difficult to change their way of thinking to acknowledge that other ideas and viewpoints exist and should be valued. In this class, we were given the opportunity to explore the science curriculum, and I can say it shocked me. We are constantly educating ourselves on how we can incorporate multiple ways of knowing into the classroom, specifically Indigenous ways of knowing. But when we took a look at the science curriculum, it tells us that we need to incorporate these understandings, but doesn't provide us with ways of doing so. How can we be told to do something, but not be told how we can? This makes it difficult for teachers to constantly be implementing Indigenous ways of thinking and knowing. This class has helped me to realize that we can't continue the cycle of teaching the way most of us were taught, only gaining a sense of one way. We need to push to include and teach multiple perspectives. This allows science classes to be freer and to go against biased understandings, to allow children to explore all aspects, to allow them to see the world differently, and to allow them to take part in activities that will challenge their thinking and to go beyond the Western way of thinking. Incorporating Indigenous ways of knowing into science enables us to develop an appreciation and idea for what was here first, how students might ethically approach the world, and learn about crises that affect the lives of its inhabitants. I want my students to have the ability to discover on their own, to indulge in hands-on exploratory experiences, as well as learn about inquiry and how it works. I want my students to see Indigenous ways of knowing in each class and in each subject, as well as be able to make relevant connections to multiple understandings.